Let's say you had a style that you had been developing for years and years and years, and it was extremely distinct. And people who saw it thought to themselves, oh, that must be a Kimberly Brooks. In my case, it must be Kimberly Brooks. And what if there was an artificial intelligence app or technology that listed, like, let's say you could enter a prompt and you could say keyword vampires on Mars, and then you could say in the style of Kimberly Brooks. Fortunately, this is not happening to me yet anyway, but I don't know what it would take for it to not happen to me. In this video, we are going to see an in-depth demonstration of StarryAI with artist Dawn Smith. We are going to be messing around with prompts that use dead and living artists as filters. If you stick around to the end, you'll hear about a copyright issue that I had when I was arts editor at the Huffington Post for what seemed like a far less egregious use of another artist's style that I got busted for. I'm Kimberly Brooks, and I'm an artist, and I'm the host of firstpersonartist.com. Let's say I were born in the 1800s and I was like Marie Cassatt. Let's say I was Marie Cassatt, and my work and my style that was very unique was totally out of copyright. I couldn't claim to have copyright about that particular style. But let's say I was alive, for example I am, and you could go into an artificial intelligence app and type in, vampires on Mars and say in the style of Kimberly Brooks. I think I would be upset about that. I would sort of obviously artists all the time are referencing other artists. That's what we do. So that's not what I have an issue with. What I have an issue with is technologies using other artists' work that are alive, where it's very much still in the copyright, and then allowing other people to kind of spin out JPEGs. There have been far less offenses that have gone up to the Supreme Court and elicited a copyright sanction, like Jeff Koons with the puppies, that was just he saw a photograph in somebody's house on a holiday card, and then he fabricated a sculpture of it in Germany, and then it appeared on the cover of the New York Times, and the couple that took the photograph said, hey, wait a minute, I took that photograph. So it was even in a different medium. It was no longer a photograph, it was a sculpture, yet that got completely shut down, and he was fined for that. Now let's check out StarryAI with Dawn Smith.
I use StarryAI. It's an app, and this is what it looks like when you kind of climb into it.
Does it cost money?
No, you get so many times to use it for free. And if you want to use it beyond that, they ask you for some subscription fee. One day I pulled one of my paintings into the AI generator. I gave it a prompt and it produced an image based on my painting. And I was just like, I like this better than I like my own painting. The AI is a better artist than me. But then I realized that it's just a tool, because I inputted the information and it just generated it based on whatever algorithms it uses.
So for every image you upload, it'll give you 4 or so variations?
It will. And these are the prompts that I use. I put Dutch still life kitten tea set Venus. And then these were the preset stylistic qualities that I told it to use. So hyperrealism, concept art, rococo, and James Jean. Here's another start image of a painting I made. This is what it generated, which I loved. I was like, oh my God, these are way better than my painting. And then what were the prompts? Let's see. Cherry Venus still life.
So you're adding an image plus a series of words that are almost free association for them to kind of vibe what they want to do to the image.
Yes.
And then in addition to that, you're choosing from a series of categories that's hyperrealism and James Jean, etc., right?
Right. Let's see if we can look up albino bunny. We'll use that as an example.
Once again, this is StarryAI, which is an app that you can download on your phone.
Exactly.
I'm almost afraid to download it. Like, oh no, I don't want to know what it's gonna. Okay, so you started the image.
I found an albino bunny.
Mm-hmm.
I always go to Dutch still lives for some reason.
Sounds great to me.
And then I usually type in something really weird.
Bloody
Okay,
vampire. What does strength mean?
it's image similar to start image. Okay,
Okay,
so
all right, got it. So we
if
don't
I
want
want
that.
it more like this bunny that
No,
I
no,
put
no,
in,
no. I want it to be crazy. Let's go stay
okay,
at 30. Yeah, perfect.
don't stay at 30,
Okay.
but I
Mm-hmm.
could be.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go in through here and look at these, but
Okay, then you're picking from these categories in
right.
addition to your prompts. Got it.
So you see up at the top where it has my living architecture and my bloody vampire bunny.
Uh-huh.
I can like add a few of these different recipes or some descriptive terms that
No
they have
kidding.
a preset. And then here it's got like in the style of, and here it has like different artists that you,
Albert Bierstadt.
yeah, who do
Well,
you want?
I mean, I just think, I mean, look, no, let's do Takashi Murakami. My God, what deal did he make with them? I
I have,
wonder.
but these are the presets. There's not that many.
Oh, look at like Gustave Doré. We got to select him. Can you select more than one?
You can, yeah. So I put him, and who else?
Takashi Murakami, even though that's really weird.
Okay, we're gonna make something really, really terrible.
You think? Okay, let's try.
All right. Oh, you can also select like specific art movements.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's like a ton of, you can select a specific medium. Let's do an
Mhm.
oil.
Okay, yeah, oil on canvas.
This is, I don't know. This stuff down here, I don't know what it
All right,
does.
no, I think we're enough. I think we're gonna make a
Yeah,
mess.
there we go. We'll hit create.
Okay,
It'll put it in your little gallery. It's doing it.
okay.
It takes like, 30 to 60 seconds or so.
These are cool.
Yeah, aren't they? Wow. That's like, it came out more interesting than I thought. But imagine if I were to like take this and do a painting.
Well, so then that becomes an interesting issue. I love that first one. That one's so trippy. Let's pretend that Dawn copied this in the form of an oil painting. Michael, is what you discovered when you were working on the press release at Gagosian for Bennett, would she own the right to it or no?
Ooh, I'm not sure because Bennett's work is closer to photography than, I mean, it's not painting. I mean, the idea is that if it's wholly AI generated, then you can't copyright it. But apparently if parts of the work were made by a human, then they may be eligible for copyright. It could be demonstrably handmade, even if the image came from AI. If it was constructed by a human being, then you might be able to copyright at least that element of it. I don't know how you would separate the elements out from each other, but that's my understanding.
Because this prompt was from a photograph of a bunny, not a painting that she had already made. Unlike
I don't
her
think it matters where the prompt comes from, because the prompt is sort of lost in the earlier stages of the process. So it's more the end result that we're talking about rather than how you get there.
Well, I think this is an original piece of art and we should make an NFT right now and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I like that one a lot. I actually really like it. I might actually paint that.
I love it.
Yeah, that's basically how I use it in a nutshell. In terms of like the legality, I think there's a lot that's still being argued, but the way I understand it is that if you're not using an image to start off with that is already copyrighted by someone else, you're probably safe.
James Jean is very much alive and still love that Prada commercial collaboration that he did back in like a decade ago. And is he cool with platforms using his style as a framework? Dawn wrote an email directly to StarryAI and said, hey, did the artists that I select as my prompt style agree to be represented? And they said, hello, the models are trained in images located in the public domain. No copyrighted works of art are used. This is interesting because most artists with websites, which means almost all artists, is that artwork public domain? It shouldn't be, and you'd have to get permission to use the copyright, is my understanding. They claim the prompt builder just functions the same as typing in a name, that there's no guarantee that it will source any art from that artist. It only sources public domain and never sources anything that is copyrighted. Come on. How is the AI going to know whether or not it's copyrighted? Like, how is it going to know that all of the art on my website or any artist's website or on any Instagram account is copyrighted for that matter? Let's go back to James Jean and Takashi Murakami. Okay, Gustave Doré, we know he's dead and his stuff is long out of the copyright. Takashi Murakami, is he cool with platforms using his style? Can that artificial intelligence remotely claim that it may or may not have been Takashi's work that they're referencing just because they say it does? When I was arts editor of the Huffington Post, I created this game called Guess the Artist. I had a quota of how many things I could publish a day, and I thought this will be great. I'll just put up like an obscure image by a famous artist from yesteryear, and I'll list like 4 options and people can guess what it is. We put up this tree by Piet Mondrian that he painted before he became famous for those rectilinear geometric paintings that he's known for. And we got a call from the Mondrian Foundation saying that if we don't take it down immediately, that they're going to charge us money. And that happened a couple times in the art section where a photographer would say, hey, I didn't give you the permission to use my copyrighted images, so I'm going to charge you $5,000 per image. And I can't imagine that if StarryAI is using James Jean, Takashi Murakami, any artist living today, I thought that they made a deal with them. In the early aughts, when the internet was wiping off its own placenta, it was just being born, artists used to watermark their work. It was like branding a cow. It was just sort of, this is mine and the copyright is mine. And they used to put a big copyright symbol right below their work. And then it became a little bit gauche. So when I was arts editor of the Huffington Post, there were some artists that would do it. This was in the like 2010. And then you sort of like said, well, we don't need to do that. If you did it, you automatically own the copyright. That was sort of the general thinking. So I picture these artificial intelligence bots like trolling the web and sucking up all the images it can find. And that's how it's creating its living artist filters, like for James Jean or Takashi Murakami. And I think that if the artificial intelligence bot says, oh, well, we only use images that are in the public domain, I kind of don't believe them. That's basically, I think that that's not true.